Alright, so I'm wearing Josh Peak's shirt he sent me. That is the Stuff I Heard podcast, where he just has a podcast on stuff that he heard. It's pretty interesting. If you don't know, you can look it up. If you follow him on Instagram, it is Stuff I Heard Podcast on Instagram, and he'll link you over. Or Stuff I Heard, or JTat Peak, which is another one of his Instagram accounts, or maybe they're all linked together, I'm not 100% sure, but or just the Stuff I Heard. Search him up.
Okay, so you wanted a view from the cab while I was chisel plowing? I wasn't going to run the 4960. It's too noisy, I guess. I'm getting old in my old age. Spoiled in my old age. So I got the 8530. 8530 on this bad boy. This chisel plow is probably from the early 80s, mid 70s to early 1980s, and I don't want to pull it in half. My old chisel plow that I had before this one was from 1976 or 77. No, I'm wrong, it was in 1972, and I pulled it in half with the 4960, just ripped it in half. This is a bit better one, still only a 12 shank. This one here could probably pull a 25 shank if I really weighted it down and got it set up correctly, but I'm not going to go out and spend a bunch of money on a chisel plow when I can just go a little faster and do the job that I'm doing. What I am doing is actually, I'll just turn around here, what I'm doing is I am working down spent mushroom compost. I'm chisel plowing it in. You can see there a little bit of black where it's finer, and it covered the ground a little differently than where it was heavier. But I want this stuff worked in for the simple reason I don't want to lose it. And if you know anything about mushroom compost, it is light and it'll wash away. So if I was to get a good heavy rainstorm right now, it would just lift that stuff right up and run to the end of the field. And I don't want that to happen. And this is already, it's composted, spent compost. I've had it for over a year in a pile. So it's wet and it is broken down, and all the juices and all the nutrients that was in it is in it right now will actually leach out of the material and wash away down the ditch, and I'll lose almost all of my fertilizer value, and I don't want that to happen. I didn't just spend 2 days spreading on this farm here to have it go away down the ditch to feed fish or poison fish or create an algae bloom someplace that I don't want. I want everything that I've got in the ground. So that's the plan. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. And I have to do 100 acres on this farm yet today. I didn't get started until 3 o'clock, so I got a feeling it's going to be a bit of a late night. This is my grandparents' place on my mother's side. That was where my mom was raised, in that house right there next to the red barn. This is the farm that I have ambitions of buying when, you know, the time is right, and the time is getting right. So, yeah, that's why I spent all that time cutting the trees and stuff down, because it could be 4 or 5 years before this is complete. There's 130 acres on this side of the road, and there's another, I don't know, in total it's like 215 acres. So let me get turned around here, and yeah, so that's what I'm up to. I'm gonna try, this is really actually some pretty decent soil, really decent soil. CEC is good, better here than at home on the home farm, and it needed this boost of nutrients in it, because the sod farmer had pulled off the topsoil, probably a couple 3 inches of topsoil. They'll never admit to it, but that's what they did. And the organic matter from just years of soybeans after soybeans and wheat after baled off wheat stubble and soybeans, he never grew corn here. So he took topsoil, never did anything that would build any organic matter. The the percentage of organic matter is in a field that he never stripped sod off of, and that is only 1.8%. The lowest is 1.1% organic matter, and that is in this particular field. So I put about, I don't know, 5 tons of mushroom soil on this to the acre in hopes of building both nutrition and organic matter. So, and if you're wondering how fast I'm pulling this thing, there's my speed. I've got a 2% slip, right, 3% slip on the, because this has ground radar. Actual speed is 9.5 miles an hour, but the transmission is moving the tractor at 10. So, yeah, 2 to 3% slip. Not a bad deal. Can't complain about that at all. Anyway, I'm going to shut this off, and then I'll probably have my wife come over and do some video work.
before we get into the comment section here, I would like to explain why the chisel plow is kind of wonky on there. This chisel plow was probably built back in the late 1970s when tractors weren't nearly as large as what this one is. And if you look at the three-point hitch, you'll have to go back a little bit. Look at how the three-point hookup is. The top link is supposed to be level across when it's in the ground. But because it's for a much smaller tractor, 4430s, 4630s, 4320s, John Deere's, 1086s and 1566s and things like that, those top links were much closer to the pull arms on the or lift linkage on the back of the tractor, whereas the new tractors, they are much taller, designed to really much higher. They can lift more, and so what happens is, as this thing goes down, the ass end of the plow comes up. So it's very difficult to make these things work properly. So what it was doing was actually digging deeper in the front than it was in the back, and then when I lift it up, it would actually go the other way, and then it would cause it to droop in the back. So a bit of a pain in the ass, if you ask me. But it got the job done. I'm pretty happy with the way it worked. I got done last night at about 11 o'clock. That's when I walked through the door at home. Coffee. Ron Boyce, Donald Trump pardons people who commit war crime. He doesn't like people who do the right thing. Oh, I distinctly remember our former president, Barack Obama, releasing a traitor, and then the public, John Q. Public, including you if you're here in the United States, paid for a sex change through his military service benefits. So, yeah, I think you need to rethink yourself there. Peter IJMKER, next project, rake? Probably not. I just don't have the time to do it. We'll probably pull in the rakes that I have and get them all fixed up. But if I do get the time to do it, we'll do it. But for the most part, I'm a busy person, and there's only so much that we can do on a daily basis. Jan Coach says, I was impressed by the strength of the straps to bend that thick steel. Good job there. Okay, so those straps are rated for 33,000 pounds, and we notched, I had him notch them at the top and the bottom where I wanted it to bend. So it was only 3/8 of an inch thick there. So, that's okay, I guess. It was easy to bend, real easy. Andy Nereider, I'm sorry if I butchered that. Wes, what's the stencil in the web of the C channel? Just curious if it was some of my steel. There was none. That's what kind of got me. I wanted to see if it was USA steel or Canada steel, but I got a pretty good idea with no markings. It's probably China steel, which didn't make me very happy. David Staton. He says, Hey, Wes, I just bought a 9660R. It has 234 hours for $55,000. Still has plastic on the seats. I think there should be a 2 in front of that because $55,000 US, that is a steal, and it probably is hot if you actually paid that for it. Okay, so Milden, hay, and straw. Best thing, in my opinion, you can do for Cody is to let him be the one that drives the spreader for the season. Nothing beats building something than the joy of being able to use it yourself in the field. Well, absolutely 100% that's going to happen, because if it fucks up, he's the one that's going to be responsible, and I'm not jumping in and out of that tractor 55,000 times to fix it. But I got all the confidence in the world that it will go to the field and run flawlessly. John Byrne, do you think you have to avail of the small business loans the government are giving because of the coronavirus? I've already inquired about them because I actually have been impacted negatively from this coronavirus. The mushroom barns have shut me down for 3 weeks, and now they're cutting me back each one. I'm supposed to be hauling 5 loads a week into each one, and I have a total between the two of 3 loads for this coming week. So, yeah, it's going to be hard to meet the payroll if I can't get this, done. If they don't get shit straightened out. So there you go. BH, when pulling the frame together with tension binder, What keeps one side from coming in further than the other? Well, nothing actually. I had him weld a piece of steel up the center, and when he touched one side, he smacked it with the hammer. You'd have to go back and watch. He smacked it with the hammer, relieving the tension so that it would stay there. And then I had him weld the web shut. Okay, so when he cut the notch out, folded it in, smacked it with a hammer, welded it shut, it stayed there. Then he took the other side and pulled that one in. So that's how. Okay, so yesterday there was a live stream my cousin and her boyfriend Mike were doing. They call it M&M. Her channel is Mandy Pouch Vlogs. She was doing a live stream, and Steve Holton actually was there, and he says, Wes, I just hear from Mandy's. Clarify, please, is she your generation or Tim's or a tweener? Have kind of followed Billy Sr. since the 70s, thanks. SDH in Connecticut. Yeah, she is a couple, 3 years older than what Timothy is, so she would be Tim's generation. That would be, I think that's actually a millennial, late millennials. It's not a Gen Z. So, yeah, she's a millennial. I would say Tim's a millennial. She's a millennial. Teresa's actually a millennial. If you look at it, she was born in 83. I am a Gen X. Clinton Reichert. Hey, Wes, what's your business goals for the next 5 to 10 years? We run a custom hay business, and I'd love the videos. Learn a lot watching your channels. Okay, so my goals are to actually not borrow money. To run the day-to-day operations. I'm young enough now that I can get a good fair amount of good tractors that'll last the remainder of my career. And so I won't have to buy tractors unless I expand beyond what I'm doing now, which I do plan on doing that. But that will be in the next 3 to 5 years. Tractors are replaceable, and you can just trade them in or whatever. But I need to get to a base where I want to be. And then in 10 years, I suspect I will not have to borrow any money to run the operation. And that's that. So, Brian Simmons. Hey, Wes, tomorrow's my birthday, big 40. Just give me a shout. Well, there's your shout, Brian Simmons. Brian. Okay, Brian, happy birthday. Okay, so Ron, will you help me out? You did a video of getting your hearing aid. Told my brother, but I can't remember the name of the vid. You were talking about getting them at Costco. Keep up the good work. I did get them at Costco. I have them in right now. You probably can't see them. But I'll pop one of them out for you. There it is. This is the device. I mean, it's a little squiggly thing. This guy right here, that's what holds it in your ear. These things are awesome. These are the Bluetooth ones. They do take batteries, not the rechargeable ones, because the rechargeable ones were not Bluetooth, at least not this particular model. But once they're in, you can't see them. And I believe these were the cause of the vertigo. Yeah, I do, because I cleaned my ears with a water pick, the thing you stick in your teeth, and that kind of went away. And God, this is bugging me. In real life, they're even, but on film, this is not even. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so Costco, go in, get your hearing tested. These things work really good, really, really good. And you can't see them. And I'll tell you what, now that I've got them, I think if I lost one, I'd have to go get another one right away, because this would just drive me crazy not to have them. I never realized how deaf I was until I got these things. So that'll be it for the commentary. Thanks everybody for being here. Alex the Dutch Dairy Farmer. I loved the video. Thank you. I'm sorry if I rattled your cage a little bit too hard, but yeah. Now let's see. What did Ad Vandervelden comment back? Yeah, he's a commenter, that guy. He just comments on every single video, and that's all it is a comment. Anyways, thanks again. See ya tomorrow.